Hello, Speed Gaming. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Super Mario Brothers 3 Rando 2021 tournament, the start of our bracket stage here. We've got a great match for you. We're down to 24 runners from an initial 48 in the group stage. And here to kick it off are MidiGuyDP and TrueHyperMario. I'm Drosy, and I'm joined here by the amazing Growlwolf. How are you doing today?
Oh, I am fantastic, and I cannot wait for this race to get started. Like you said, we've gone down from 48 runners in the group stages, which was absolutely remarkable to see. We had a huge just swing of events as we saw everything from blowouts to new players getting their PBs for the first time. We had players that were within seconds of each other, others that had made it to World 8 and hadn't expected to. We just saw a whole lot of really, really good things come out from those races. So we are certainly excited to see what comes out in brackets. And what a better way to start between MidiGuyDP, who is a veteran of SMB3 Randomizer. He's no stranger to this big stage. He's always, always been a part of these tournaments. A huge fan of SMB3, especially the randomizer version. And then on the other side, we have TrueHyperMario, who's a great SMB3 vanilla runner. So sometimes we see the P-Speed strats kind of come out to play for some of these guys. We see a lot of the different strategies, especially as they start to get to know these randomizers better. And we really see a huge flare out of both of them. And especially like as they're coming into the bracket stages, there's a lot of hype for this match, and we are looking forward to it.
Yeah, and it's also worth noting both of these guys did really well in their groups. That's how they got here to begin with. But I believe MidiGuy split his series with Paradox, and other than that was undefeated. And TrueHyperMario, well, he was in the same group as Mitch Flower Power, so Mitch did take those two matches, but Hyper beat everyone else, and so that's how they both got here.
And what a terrifying group to be in, especially with some of those guys that are just that good. And especially as these new players are coming in to go with, a randomizer, something that you're not familiar with, something you haven't really seen before. Because we've basically taken the entire game that you know, that you love, that you've been a part of, we put it into a giant barrel, shook it up, and then spread it back out and said, here, have fun.
And speaking of how we've done that, we just saw the World 1 fort where Hyper was able to get a leaf and went to where the whistle would normally be, while MidiGuy did not have the leaf, so he's having to beat it the regular way. So that's our first sort of divergence this seed.
It doesn't look like it's going to be much of a difference on behalf of either of our runners, where TrueHyperMario did have to play 5-3, though. We have MidiGuyDP playing 1-2, which does tend to be a bit of a quicker level, especially if they are able to get the P-Speed strat here, which looked like MidiGuy was going for, but the enemy set just not conducive for that. Also interesting to note, the two runners that we have here featured, this is one of the most powerful groups I think I've ever seen based on average times and so on and so forth. So between these two runners, we have MidiGuyDP, who has a average time coming in from the groups of 37 minutes 46 seconds. Now that's a very good time. That is very nice, a very good time. But then just quickly after him, we have TrueHyperMario, who's sporting a 42:32. So even though that sounds like 5 minutes and that could be a long time, there are some randomizer seeds that are not created equal. Some of them could be done within 26 minutes. We saw a 26-minute 58 from DLP. We saw another one from the Haxer just after that. So some very quick times, but then we also saw some from the same players that were upwards of 36 minutes to 40. So there's just not a lot of information we have yet, other than both of these guys are good, and it's going to be a fight to the finish.
And at least we're comfortably through the first world here, because some of those longer seeds often involve a really difficult stage at the beginning that you don't have any items, and just have to keep playing it as small Mario with no way to skip it. But we're through World 1 here on both sides now in less than 4 minutes, so that is a nice start to the seed.
Absolutely. And we do not yet have the 3 airship world, so there's still a lot to play, still a lot to go, still a lot of items to be retrieved. We are doing brackets, so hammers will not break locks, and there's another thing. The in-card game is turned off. Those are kind of the 2 big things that we've seen different from really the group 2 stages that we had going on previously. But other than that, it's just going to be a very similar to a any percent run from the vanilla with Warpless.
Now, here in World 6, this can always get interesting. The big question is, how much of the world can you skip using pipes? And so far, we've skipped a little bit. There are more pipes to be had. We obviously don't have any hammers yet, or clouds. Oh, and as soon as I say that, cloud shows up. Okay, so that could really help speed us through here.
Yeah, clouds are going to be one of those items that we're going to be looking at for really just most of the race and the match itself. Because with hammers not breaking locks, with there not being a whole lot of items that are really going to get you far ahead, those clouds are really going to be a huge advantage, especially if we see something like 6-6 come up, or 7-5, or anything with a really terrifying enemy set, because we have also randomized that. 1-1 could have a boss pass. You never know. So going to be interesting for sure to see how this run plays out, especially when those items like the cloud and such move forward.
And I love just how close these runners are to each other, even with their slightly different routing in the first world. MidiGuy is breathing right down TrueHyperMario's neck.
Absolutely, and I feel like this would be a much closer race if MidiGuyDP did not just get a Boomerang Brothers marathon. But even then, you're looking at maybe half a level difference at this point, at a Fortress level at that. And since we've turned off the auto-scroller of Air Force, it's actually a lot closer than it looks at this point. So you're absolutely right. These guys just neck and neck at this time, and I expect that to exist and sustain for a long time.
I hope so. That race condition was a bit unfortunate, though. I'm sure MidiGuy is not too happy about it.
We talked previously and a lot about it really is just the randomizer gives and the randomizer takes away. 1 minute you're playing a level way too many times, the next minute you're ahead by 3 minutes. So, it really just comes down to keeping your wits about you, keeping that mental game in. We just saw another cloud come out from MidiGuyDP. I don't know that that's an advantage, but if TrueHyperMario does not have that cloud, that means an additional level MidiGuy gets to skip, and at this point will be the lead for him.
Absolutely. And just as a reminder, that big fish we see in this level is thankfully not a Boss Bass. That is Boss Bass's cousin, Big Bertha.
I have a bit of a reputation during a lot of the different commentators, whatever, even the racers know that I like to roll really, really tumultuous seeds. I don't know how I do it. It just comes naturally, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, so I've actually even considered that. Like putting a Boss Bass in a Aqua level terrifies me. So trying to get that into some of these runs with the randomizer and everything else just sounds terrifying. Thankfully, we don't do that. But now that I said it, maybe somebody's going to hear it, and that's going to come back to haunt me.
And while we were discussing that, I believe this is the first beta world we've seen in this seed.
I believe you are correct, and definitely a scary level to go through, especially a small Mario. You don't know what enemy set it is, and there are enemies at the very end that will like to come down and get you. And if you're not being careful, you will take a death there, which is unfortunate, as you will have to play it again.
But we saw a nice strap by MidiGuy, who is catching up to TrueHyperMario by getting that clip the first try. Hyper took maybe half a dozen tries. Just shows you how quickly these races can swing.
Absolutely, and we'll see if we get any divergence here. Now, the second beta level is Waterfalls, whereas MidiGuyDP gets 3-1. Waterfalls definitely being the quicker one here, so TrueHyperMario will be on to the World 6 airship here in just moments. And as we do get closer to the castle here, we would like to invite chat to play a game with us. We like to guess which world is coming up next. We've had 2, and we are just now finishing up 6. So go ahead and get your guesses in chat, and I will kick things off with World 5.
You're thinking 5s. I'm feeling 1.
Interestingly, we are on the World 1 airship, and we had a bit of a connection last time I was on commentary. We had like 3 or 4 of the airships matched up with the world that came next. So highly suspicious, but definitely can happen.
And both runners fireballing Lemmy, who is taking a while, and unfortunately MidiGuy did not quite get enough fireballs off in time, but it was just a 2-hit Lemmy for all that.
And just like that, still so close. It seems like MidiGuy starts catching up, then something like losing a fire flower takes him right back again. And I mean, even then, not even a 20-second difference between these 2 runners at this point. Anything could happen. We still have World 7, we still have World 3, we still have so many places where divergences can happen. And if I'm still waiting to see an inventory from TrueHyperMario, but I think there may only just be 1 cloud on this side.
Well, here is World 3, as you were saying, one of the worlds we still have, and we started off in the Navy.
I think this is very interesting for MidiGuy. TrueHyperMario went ahead and played the fortress, which obviously is going to be required, as we do have a bridge. And if that does build a bridge, then obviously, you'd be able to use it from that point on. If not, you do have 3-2 and 3-3 respectively that will come into play, and you will have to play those before moving on. Okay, so very interesting World 3 thus far. We have a fortress on the left-hand side that does nothing that we know of at this point. I didn't see a lock break or anything. I also wasn't really paying attention to that. I was looking at that bridge more than anything. So the runners will now have to go through where 3-2 and 3-3 are usually respectively.
And MidiGuy's about to get the bad news. I wonder if either of them will be tempted to do that mushroom house, just because it's sitting there. And we haven't gotten that many items yet.
There is always a good possibility of that, especially as some of the runners start to feel dry. Randomized does mean that the house will produce a different item depending on where you are. So instead of, I believe it's like World 5 or World 6, there is a mushroom house that gives you a hammer suit. That could pop up anywhere. So if you are looking for the quickest exit on Bowser's Castle, you'd be going for that Hammer Brothers suit. Not a bad decision here.
Yeah, that's why it might be worth, hitting up a mushroom house or 2 if they happen to be on your way, but neither of our runners did that. They're probably waiting for later in the game, and wow, some chainless chomps. That's kind of terrifying.
Absolutely, but MidiGuy just really putting them in their place. That was very impressive. He was able to keep P speed all the way through 6-1 and just look great doing it.
Oh, and MidiGuy has found a way to the airship already.
Interesting for sure. That will be a leadership change, and now just like that, we've got MidiGuyDP just a little bit ahead, where TrueHyperMario decided to play a couple of Hammer Brothers first. So we kind of talked about the item and the despair, like just the famine that we've had in that so far. And both of our runners, really need to be careful where they are in their inventory. For TrueHyperMario, that meant going after 2 more Hammer Brother fights.
And both runners managed to take down Wendy with fireballs, so we will not find out anything about the Baconators today.
All we know is that this time she is charbroiled, and this next world is coming up quick. Looks like in chat, apparently the level that was played, the Hammer Brother fight that was done on the side of TrueHyperMario did produce a Hammer Brother suit. So a huge item on the side of TrueHyperMario, especially if another hammer does not come out on the side of MidiGuyDP. There are a few places in the game where a hammer suit will come up, but with the few places that items are going to be available without that in-card game, it's going to be interesting if he actually pulls one off or if he's going to have to go for a different route through Bowser.
Yeah, and even if like your opponent has fireballs, that's still an extra, what, 5-10 seconds to take down Bowser compared to hammers?
Oh, absolutely. Even if you're able to mash very quickly, it still is 35 fireballs. So, however quickly you can get those out, including the jump that Bowser will take, or multiple times, depending on how long it is, that is a lot of time added when you're looking at seconds, not minutes.
Okay, so now we've got divergence again. There are two forts right next to each other. There are two locks, one of which does nothing, the other of which opens up the rest of the level. One of these runners is right.
You love to see it. You absolutely love to see it. TrueHyperMario has picked the correct fortress to 5F2.
So he retakes the lead here as MidiGuy drops into that fortress as well, realizing by process of elimination it has to be the right one.
I have to applaud how the randomizer is just so amazingly done that our runners, both of them having just exceptional runs so far, doing a great job. World 4, they're already at 14 minutes, 45 seconds, respectively. And both of the runners just doing a great job. But I have a feeling both of them still think they're behind. That TrueHyperMario took a little bit longer on those Hammer Brothers. MidiGuyDP picked the wrong fortress. You have no idea. So I guarantee both of our runners do believe they're behind right now. And we'll see if that aggressive play does come out.
And meanwhile, we have 7-9 with a boss bass. I guess the only positive thing here is that 7-9 tends to keep you off the ground level, so we're, for the most part, safely above boss bass. But MidiGuy is double clouding both that and the level after to retake the lead and go straight to the airship.
A very interesting call on the side of MidiGuyDP to go ahead and do a double cloud, where 5-8 will be the second level that comes up. Not a terrible level, but it is tricky, as we just saw TrueHyperMario take a death there.
We also saw one-hit Larry.
So a decision like this on MidiGuy's part, I think it has to come back to what we were just talking about with feeling like you're behind the entire time. You just don't feel comfortable, and especially when you take a death on a very long level like that. Just for the mental game, if you have to double cloud to get through the world, then double cloud it. There's no reason to make it any longer than it has to be. And if that's what it's going to take to get you back into this and feeling comfortable, you take what you can.
So here we are at World 7, which means we have just 4 and 5 remaining. I can't believe we're already on our 5th world here, 16 minutes in.
Oh, that is an understatement. These guys are good. We talked about that earlier with just how fast these guys are. And, it's going to be finishing up here quickly. I mean, we do still have 4. We still have 5. We still haven't seen a whole lot of World 7 as we've got MidiGuyDP currently just trying to figure it out. And it looks like there's one lot. So probably just one fortress. It's going to be interesting to see how long it takes them to get to that fortress. And really, if you have to play more of the levels, I think it's worth it so you don't get caught up in the pipe maze anymore.
And in the meantime, we'll put a little prediction in chat about which of those 2 remaining worlds, 4 or 5, will come up next. Oh, and we are so tantalizingly close, but the locks are getting in the way.
Welcome to the world of Randomizer. That is one of the reasons I like the randomizer so much, especially when you start looking at a lot of the other things that games can do. And it looks like MidiGuy will go back ultimately and play 5-1. But really, you just want to go one place. And since you don't have hammers breaking locks, that's obviously not going to be a factor. You're going to have to go the long way around.
Yeah, and World 7 is also, just because of the number of pipes, a world where lead changes happen frequently.
Absolutely, and I already love this decision by TrueHyperMario. Obviously feeling a little bit of pressure at this point. He went ahead and played the first level he came to because he saw a fortress. Now, he hasn't played that fortress, which I would have bet that he would have played. But it looks like he's just going for recon at this point, just wants an idea of where he's going.
And the fortress, of course, is Piranha Fort, which is normally located in World 7, so hey, there's that.
We will have to wait and see both if the forts are connected. World 7F1 we have not yet seen, I don't believe. So if they are connected, then that, of course, will be the second fort required. And that, of course, will be in the bottom left-hand corner. And an unfortunate death from TrueHyperMario on 7F2. Okay, so with the information we did just get from MidiGuyDP, after beating 7F2, you're still not done. You still have to brave the pipe maze, still find the island in the bottom left corner of the map. You still have to play 2 more levels, and then you still have to go back and take on another level, a Piranha, and a Ludwig von Koopa. This level 7 is going to really equalize.
And we somehow have 2 boss basses in this level. I'm not sure I've seen that before.
It does not happen often, but I think it has something to do with the fact that since it already could have a boss bass, if there is a boss bass, it does double for things like 4F2 that we just saw there. Definitely unfortunate, not something that you want to try to play around with too long. Thankfully, MidiGuy was able to get through there quickly.
So, Oh, go ahead.
No, go right ahead.
Oh, I was just saying TrueHyperMario has also now gotten the news that he broke the wrong lock and is going to have to continue beating levels and figure out where the other fortress is.
I do like the things that he's doing on his side. It seems like he's taking a little bit of a different path, maybe trying a different route out, and see if it'll play off for him. And MidiGuyDP, guessing 7F1 was going to be connected, did take a tail, and is now going to be defeating Boom Boom very quickly.
So what are the rules about when forts are connected to their vanilla worlds? I don't actually know.
I'm still learning about it myself, but my understanding is that it's actually connected within the game. They are connected to be together. I believe it's the way that the memory actually works, and I would have to have somebody actually verify the techniques behind this, but it had something to do with, 5-9, ew. But it has something to do with the way that the memory actually can vary after a game. So when we see the manipulation that people like Niche Flower Power do, they're actually manipulating the game into giving them a certain pixel and a certain memory value, which will change something later on. So at the end of World 6, the fight with Winnie will be doctored in such a way that you have a better memory going into 7F or 7-1, I should say.
So I was just thinking, MidiGuy used both of his clouds. TrueHyperMario still has a cloud. Might he take an intentional death and cloud 5-9 when he gets there?
I think it's a very good call. It's not a point to go through either of these 2 levels, and thankfully he hasn't. Obviously, you have to play the fort and come back around. 3-6 is just not all that terrifying. 5-9 is. That's the kind of level that you can make up a lot of ground on if you don't have to play. And right now, that's the kind of play that TrueHyperMario needs.
Yeah, Hyper's now a couple of levels behind. He could certainly make up a lot of that time clouding 5-9. Though he still has to do Fort Knox first.
And a great call on his side. You feel like you've not seen 7F1 yet. There's still a lot that you could possibly do with it. He will have to wait for that peak speed to run out, but no matter, a few seconds later, he will be into 7F1.
Wow, high jumping Ludwig today.
And just like this world is going to be the hardest fight that we've seen, looks like it's going to be a full 5-hitter. And with that, we will get our prediction. So if you haven't already guessed, go ahead and get into the chat. If you want to say which one you went with, go right ahead. We do have 4 and 5 to contend with still, and we will look forward to seeing what happens next.
And apparently 5 got outvoted 4 by about a 2-1 margin.
And just like that, you absolutely called that correct. TrueHyperMario did take an early exit, went ahead and utilized the cloud. Now already in the fight with the Piranha, means he's only about a level behind. And now we have a hammer. Probably not going to come out to play, though.
And TrueHyperMario... Okay, he beat the Piranha, so he didn't waste the Cloud. But that death was still unfortunate.
Very much so. If nothing else, it just is a motivator to continue to play hard and play tough. But it's also a detractor. You're doing your best. You're trying to get through these as quickly as possible. You might be feeling a little bit down at this point. You don't know if you're in the lead or not. So taking a death there just kind of really deflates you in a lot of ways. Hopefully, we can see that not play a factor for TrueHyperMario. Comes back. He still has the hammer suit. We haven't seen one on the side of MidiGuy as far as I know. Still would like to get an inventory look here in a moment as he goes through 7-8 here. But, still a very close matchup, and anything still can happen.
Absolutely. And World 5, which we haven't yet seen, is going to be another interesting one just because there are so many different combinations of possibilities for how to get to Sky World from Ground World. And one runner can find the right pipe sooner than the other.
Absolutely. And I think I did mention something in chat a moment ago. I called it 7-8. I apologize. 7-8 is the one with all the piranhas. That's 7-7 that has the little nippers on the bottom that try to get to you. And looks like TrueHyperMario going to be taking a little bit of a different route here. We'll go for the coin ship. We'll see if that plays a factor for him. And a death on the side of MidiGuyDP on 6F3 will mean he has to replay the fourth. That will give TrueHyperMario just a little bit of a chance to catch up here. Hopefully we do see that happen, especially as he's going into 7-7 here. Looks like he might be going for a clip. Not easy to do regardless. I wonder how it's going to be with a small Mario. Looks like he's not even going to wait to find out.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, you really don't see that clip of small Mario very often.
No, I think that was a little bit of wishful thinking, maybe a little bit of hope. I know for some runners, the clips make up a big difference. If you can one time 7-1 or one time 7-6 or even 7-4, some of the others, I get, well, maybe not 7-4, but 7-7. There are a bunch of levels that you could possibly do that with, especially in 7-7 or in World 7's levels, I should say. And if you are able to get a couple of those pulled off, it just really changes your mental outlook.
By the way, this is kind of an interesting... On MidiGuy's side, we were seeing 1-3 with basically the hardest enemies you can imagine, except for Boss Bass, but it had, like, a Sledge Bro, it had some Fire Chomps. Just goes to show that even, what would normally be a pretty straightforward level can get more challenging depending on the enemies in Rando.
Absolutely. We even talk about 1-1. A very classic world start, I should say. Even start to the game. It's a level that we know. It's a level we've played virtually hundreds, maybe even thousands of times, depending on who the runner is. And it's one that we all know and love. There's a very easy strat to get through it. And yet in the randomizer, it can be a level that causes you to pause and actually wait a little bit. TrueHyperMario did have the star running out there, did not go for the skip. I think that's a very good decision. That is a very tough clip to do, and if you can't damage boost, then that is going to be a big problem. Where MidiGuyDP looks like he will be doing a World 6's airship, I should say, as we get ready for World 5.
Yeah, now it's just a matter of how quickly can TrueHyperMario get himself across here. He now has the hardcore enemy 1-3.
Most likely will not see him go for an item here with all of these enemies coming out to play. It is possible, but just with those fire tails, it gets so hard and so tricky to try to get through where you're supposed to. I think it's a good call to go ahead and play it. It's not going to be a whistle, and you've already got a hammer suit. Don't waste the time.
Yeah, for those of you who aren't familiar with the randomizer, we have removed all warp whistles from the game because, hey, it's just not as much fun if you don't have to go through all 8 worlds. And as MidiGuy takes an unfortunate death. And since the airships don't move if you die on them, anchors don't have their original functionality. Instead, anchors are basically become the mystery item where all anchors in the game become one single other item. And you won't know until you use it.
Absolutely. And talking about things that go together, we also have the hand level stages, which do go together in that if you beat one, you'll receive an item at the end, which is randomized. And it will always be that throughout all 3 hand levels if you can find them.
So are we gonna have to do the tower just to get across the river in Ground World?
That is certainly one of the fun parts of World 5, depending on how you look at it. So the left-hand side will either have a pipe, a tower, or a fortress, based on how you will actually get up to the top. Now, it is possible that runners will have to go up the tower, play a level, come down, cross over the bridge, play another level, a fortress most likely, to break the lock or whatever at the top. So currently looking like that could possibly be a thing here, as we just don't have any information other than there's a fortress on the right and no way to build a bridge. So if it's a 2 fortress world 5, we could be it could be interesting to see if this gets a little bit longer.
I guess we'll see pretty quickly once we get through here. We'll get the layout of Skyworld. And TrueHyperMario is not too far behind in terms of when he'll learn about this.
Absolutely. I love the fortitude from TrueHyperMario at this point. You know, you're kind of new to the rando scene. You're kind of new to just all of everything that we do here. And it looks like it's going to be a pretty open world 5, so really just not a whole lot to work with here or to even have to deal with. And a gulp on the side of the MidiGuy.
Nothing too much to worry about, you say, as he gets eaten.
You know, yeah, that's commentator's curse, I guess.
Oh, nice clip there right after beating the boss bass. You just have to be really careful because the boss bass can reappear at any moment, and if you're in the wrong place, that's trouble.
Absolutely. Thankfully, Boss Bass does have a pretty vanilla way of how he moves, how he operates, how he does come back. You know, you can kind of get used to the timer and whatnot. But thankfully, Boss Bass does go by some rules, whereas the Cheap Cheap will not. The Cheap Cheap has a mind of its own. It will change which level it's on, so it'll chase you down, it'll come after you. That's a bad time. So thankfully, MidiGuy able to rethink his strategy just a little bit and was able to take down that Boss Bass and finish it off very quickly. Getting a lot of the World 6 levels here. We just saw MidiGuy on 610. Now he has entered 6-9. So interesting to see. Not sure why we had a bunch in a row, but that does happen in Randomizer.
So we're now getting our 7th castle and airship here, which means we are going on to World 8 as soon as MidiGuy gets past Roy here. Which means another little thing to guess is how many bridges will we have to build? There are 4 fortresses or fortress equivalents in World 8. Each one of them can correspond to a lock or a bridge. And someone in chat is guessing -1, which represents if the pipe on the final piece of map is actually to the right of the bridge that needs to be built. So, Growlwolf, do you have any thoughts about bridge building today?
I think I'm going to have to go with 1. It seems like it's been a pretty minor seed so far, up until like World 1. World 4 was, or I'm sorry, World 7. World 4 was a little linear. I got to go with 1 here. What about you?
I'm kind of feeling 2 myself, but we'll see. And here are hands, as MidiGuy immediately gets dragged down by one, but he doesn't want to play it. Donuts and fire chomps don't mix.
No, and early enough on, you've got a pipe right there. Go ahead and go through. Get your save state to be right there. 5-5, not a terrible level to get through, but it does take time. And if MidiGuy's feeling like he's a little bit behind here, doesn't feel like he's played as crisply as he'd like to, you're feeling a little bit more aggressive. It's an easy one to take an early exit out of. You have a pipe right afterwards. You hope you don't get caught by that hand over and over and over again. Obviously, that would be bad. But a little bit of a low risk and a good reward out of it.
So that just broke a lock or built a bridge somewhere. And it's nice that our two other hand levels are both at dead ends, so we will not be seeing them at all.
A very good point indeed. And it is interesting to see MidiGuyDP kind of utilize that to his advantage. He's really just not playing a whole lot of levels, not playing a whole lot of fortresses, really just wants to know where Bowser is. And in the case of a zero bridge, that wouldn't be the end of the game.
Well, we just found our first lock, so we know that's something. So, good call by MidiGuy that he went to the tank icon that would normally be super tanks and therefore is a fort, because the other tank icon, regular tanks, does not count as a fort. In vanilla, it has a hammer bro at the end, so it just gets randomized in with other non-fort levels and won't break a lock or build a bridge.
Absolutely, and as MidiGuy does work on 6F1 here, a very good call to go ahead and play it like you said. You're there, you might as well play the fortress, especially if it's required. Then you don't have to come back to this ever again.
And meanwhile, TrueHyperMario will be joining MidiGuy in World 8, and as we've seen with how this map is laid out, anything can happen. It is entirely possible that the runner shift leads, but no, MidiGuy finds Bowser's castle. There was only one bridge necessary, and it's been built.
And 2-5 is a wonderful level to find here. It's very quick. Now you get to gear up for the fight with Bowser. He's already got the Fire Flower suit. We haven't seen the Hammer Brothers suit. And looks like MidiGuy is just ready to go. As Paradox said, it's Midi's game to lose at this point. He's ready. He's there. It's time to go down.
Let's see if he tries any clips. Didn't get that one.
That is one thing I do like about the way that MidiGuy plays this, is it's kind of a one and done. He's going to go for a clip once, maybe twice on those first couple. If you don't get it, no big deal. Just keep moving. This one's a big one to get, and he nails it.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, as you say, big one to get. He gets.
Absolutely. You love to see it. With the one time there, that can take a lot of time, but runners will actually go after that one because the fireball pattern in the room right before Bowser is actually randomized. So to protect yourself, it's a really good idea to go ahead and clip that if you can. And just like that, we see MidiGuy take down Bowser in a very nice fashion. And with that, get your GGs out.
And he finishes with an official race time of 37:36.
What an incredible matchup. We saw a lot of leadership changes early. We saw both runners just playing extraordinarily well, in my opinion. I think they have really shown up. They've really done their stuff. And TrueHyperMario going to be finishing out 6F1 here. This is a best of 3. This is the start of brackets. This is the second phase in the tournament. Previously, all those other races were part of groups. It was a double round robin. No, this is single elimination, best of 3. Winner goes on, loser goes on to do whatever else they want to do. They will no longer be in the tournament, obviously. But regardless, what is true is that it looks like MidiGuyDP does have the first win. What does TrueHyperMario have to do here to come back?
Well, I mean, I think they both played really strongly. I think it really came down to routing in the end. And, As much as that double clouding was, I'd say, a bit controversial when MidiGuy did it, it sure paid off for him in the end.
Absolutely. I was actually just thinking about that as well. And what else would you have skipped? You know, he skipped 7-9, he skipped 5-8. What else? I mean, there was 5-9. We didn't see Atlantis come up. We didn't see 6-6 come up. We didn't see a whole lot of things come up. We had a 7F2 that led into a 7F1 that was required. So World 7 was very linear. But it just kind of seemed like MidiGuy was able to hit that gas pedal. As soon as the double clouds came out, he just kept going. And yeah, I don't think there was any further deaths on the side of MidiGuy that weren't intentional. I believe there was one in a fortress that just kind of unfortunate, but still, you know, came right back, put his boots on, took a fire flower, did whatever he had to do, and just blew through it. And I think TrueHyperMario is going to have to play more aggressive this next time.
Yeah, and we're actually, even though this race has already been decided, we're getting an example of this now where TrueHyperMario, this is his 4th fortress in World 8. You know, he had Bowser access 2 fortresses ago. He didn't check.
Yeah, very terrifying time for TrueHyperMario, and maybe he's just doing this to get the nerves down. Maybe he's doing it to kind of get more comfortable, get into the groove. But you're playing a lot of fortresses. You've got another 2 races potentially. You know, obviously, if you win the next one, you're going to force a third, which we'd love to see. Obviously, I have no plans for the rest of the day. I'd love to see it, but TrueHyperMario has got to do the recon that we saw MidiGuy do, especially if you play a fortress right off the bat. Where did it go? You know, there's a possibility of 0 or even 1 because of that first fortress. Figure out where Bowser is and then go from there. Yeah, it might take just a little bit more time, but it's kind of the point of the game.
Yeah, it's the risk-reward proposition. But he's got his hammer suit. He's on to Bowser. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. You were talking about their average times. MidiGuy got a 37 and change. It wouldn't surprise me if TrueHyperMario winds up getting a 42 and change. And he gets that first clip that MidiGuy did not, so he's... Oh, wow. Dodging that disc, that was quite something. I was scared.
Absolutely, that boot started to come into the screen as well because of that clip. You don't get to face away from Boo, especially if you're not paying attention for it. So, unfortunately, Boo does get very close there. Thankfully, he did not have to worry about it, and the mac and cheese later will mean a hi Bowser and bye Bowser.
Yeah, you love to see it when both runners can get that last key clip.
Absolutely, especially when it's so close, and that's the only thing that like separates them. Those are goosebumps moments.
And thanks to those couple of clips, TrueHyperMario does get just under 42 with an official race time of 41:57. So get your GGs in for him.
So we did talk just briefly about what it would take for TrueHyperMario to get back into this and actually beat MidiGuyDP. And Paradox brought in a very good point that THM is a very solid player, lots of speedrunning experience, whereas Rando maybe not so much. And, you know, these guys know the P-Speed strats. These guys are really, really solid. You really hope to see a great run. And I think more than anything, get out of your head. You're having fun. You're in a randomizer tournament for fun. We're doing really the best we can at this point. And honestly, TrueHyperMario just needs to let things go and have some fun with it. You know, I don't want him to get so tilted in the second race, which is incredibly hard to do. Please understand, that is incredibly hard to do. But if he can just play his game, I feel like we could see a match 3.
Yeah, and as we were discussing, you know, take a few more risks. Go check more pipes, see if you've broken any locks or built bridges and can maybe skip half the world.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, don't be afraid to play a little bit more aggressive. You know what kind of player you're up against. And if that means maybe taking a path that you wouldn't normally take, go for it. We saw that happen in World 1 Fortress. We saw that or in World 1 where he played a different fortress, wound up being the right one. We saw in World 7 where he played just a little bit of a different route. Turns out it was a very linear World 7, so, no big deal. And then Midi Guy at the end had a very lucky World 8. He played just a couple levels, but mostly pipes, and was able to get through and get right where he wanted to be.
And we're taking a little bit of a break here just because TrueHyperMario requested a little breather before starting Game 2, but we should be underway in a few minutes.
Absolutely, and I think that's a very good decision on the side of TrueHyperMario. You just got through a very grueling race. You already came out of a terrifying group. You've already done so much to get ready to this point. Clear your head a little bit, take a little break, get some water, go to the bathroom, do what you got to do. Get ready. Game 2's still coming up, and we're going to be looking for another stellar race.
Absolutely. And now that we're in brackets, it's going to be the same settings throughout as well. It's not like in groups where the second seed would sometimes be totally different settings than the first seed, if that's what the runners agreed to. Here, they don't get a choice. We're just straight through, hammers don't break locks, no end cards.
Absolutely, and we will see a little bit of a pretty consistent time start to develop out of this as runners go for the most optimized, the most likely. We go through a lot of different routing and things like that, but the greatest likelihood will actually come out and be a factor for a lot of the runners that do play over and over again. But when you have a true 50-50, that it's a level and a fortress on both sides, or even just a fortress, maybe take the one that you think your opponent wouldn't do, or maybe, if your guesses aren't going well, do the opposite of what you think. Just kind of do something to shake it up a little bit, because nobody understands these randomizers. We have a very good idea, but the randomizer will still throw us curveballs we're not ready for.
So true. Just waiting for him to come back, and then we'll hopefully be underway shortly.
Indeed, and we will get those shots called here in just one moment as he does get set up and the hatches compared. Meanwhile, if you need to take a break, take a walk, take water, get whatever you need to do, do not miss this next part. This is an outstanding start to what I expect to be a very good tournament. It's been put together by a bunch of volunteers, everybody that loves this game, loves working with SpeedGaming, working with the SMB3 Randomizer tournament group. It's just been outstanding. And if you're not already following SpeedGaming, what are you waiting for? Seriously, they put on so much great content. They help us out. They put the group stages together. They were wonderful to restream and broadcast every single one of them. So just a huge shout out to them. Definitely follow SpeedGaming and SpeedGaming 2 through 6 if you're not already, obviously. But we are looking forward to really what happens next, because there are just so many great things that could possibly happen between these two. We could see item changes. We could see a routing change. And I'm excited. I can't wait for both this and the rest of the tournament. It's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, and as TrueHyperMario has loaded in his new seed as well, we'll get a little prediction in chat of, are we going to start this new seed with an odd world or an even world? So get your predictions in.
I think I'm going to have to go with a world even to start with. I think I'm going to go with a world. I think world 4 sounds like fun.
It's funny, you as soon as you were saying that, I started thinking, yeah, I can see this being a world 4. Start. So TrueHyperMario is back. The runners are just getting set up, readying up. And we should be underway in another minute or two here.
All right, we will get those runners underway here in just one moment. The countdown has started.
We have someone in chat predicting Vanilla Worlds. That has happened. It is a 1 in 5,040 chance, but it has happened in competitive play, as has Reverse Worlds happened, I believe.
We had a very close one earlier within the group stages, actually. I believe we were 1 through like 3 or 4 was correct, and the next 2 were switched, and then it was correct again. So very close. We were very close to it. I believe last year in the tournament it actually happened where we had the, I think, vanilla order. It's been a while since the reverse world order, so we'll have to wait and see if we do get that.
And we wind up with another World 2 start for all that. So, are you sure you rolled them different seeds this time, Growlwolf?
I'll be completely honest, I'd have to go back and check, but I sure thought I did. Okay, it has been confirmed. So the other seed started with like 928. This one started 599. So maybe it's the 9s. I don't know. But
I know they had different hashes too. I was just giving you a hard time that they both had World 2 starts.
Well, I definitely had to think about it because I was like, wait, I sure thought I did. Now, thankfully, we do have a bot that does take care of that. I'm merely the monkey that pushes the buttons for it, and it does all the rest of the work for me. So pretty nice to use, and you know, it's a little unfortunate, but 5F2 does start, and TrueHyperMario just having a little bit of a problem getting through here. Hopefully he doesn't take any further issues on this, and we'll be able to finish on and move along with MidiGuy as well.
And shoutouts to the amazing Synac for making Sahasra bot into such an amazingly versatile bot that does so many things for us when it comes to setting up races.
Oh, absolutely. Just an absolute outstanding product. One that I personally love. I've used it for a long time. And I know a lot of the other runners do as well, especially like other tournaments too. I think like Legend of Zelda uses it. I know there's a lot of others that do too. So kudos.
Yeah, well, it was originally developed for ALTTPR, and yeah, it's just really taken off, especially now that we're using race time instead of SRL, and Synax just integrated it so well into race time.
Well, we certainly appreciate it. TrueHyperMario now able to get through 7-7 here, and MidiGuyDP will take a death in the 6-1 to a huge boss bass who is being a huge problem, and we'll have to start it over. So a little bit of a chance for TrueHyper to catch up here a little bit, and we'll leave, unfortunately, a small Mario, but hopefully he can change that in 6-1 here. And I am waiting to see if there is any kind of a divergence here. So the fortress is not going to be required based on where the lock is, but because of that, it looks like both runners will go the top route. If they had played the fortress, we obviously could see them go either direction. Not going to be a factor here. Locks in the way. You'll go the top route. That's one less fortress to have to play.
And I guess we're seeing a French vanilla pyramid here.
For those of you like me that just found out what the French vanilla was not long ago, that is a level that's close to its placement. It is in the right world. It's not exactly where it's supposed to be. Usually in the vanilla game, the pyramid would be the level directly before the castle where the 2 panel currently is, but still close nonetheless, only 2 levels away. Looks like the
Yeah.
fire will come out for MidiGuyDP for the first Boomerang Brother. I would not be surprised at all to see that come out here in a minute.
And we are really synchronized here, though TrueHyperMario is still big.
It looks like he will be going for a little bit extra help here. Interesting, he didn't go for the H jump with the tail there, but no matter, he is still going to be able to get through. And just hot on MidiGuy's heels, we are so close at this point.
Ooh, and doesn't quite time that ice block to hit Big Bertha, as MidiGuy goes into our final Hammer Bros here in World 2.
So neither of the Hammer Brothers really producing a powerful item. We have the music box that we may see come out in World 6, maybe even World 4. With the 3 Hammer Brothers, they do like to jump over top of each other. Or even the Piranha stages in World 7, you can't skip those with the music box. TrueHyperMario, though, making no effort to go after them, will only play the one that's in his way.
And this is a heck of a 5-3 with the enemies.
It sure is. I am starting to wonder about that seed being rolled again, because this has been a bad level for our runners in both of the seeds.
Hey, at least Boss Bass was only in the first half of the level.
That's true. You know, we do talk about that. We mentioned it just a little bit ago, where Boss Bass will actually abide by a set of rules. And one of those is he will only stay on the level where he initially spawned. So if you're in 7-5, 5-3, something like that, so long as you don't take Boss Bass down and then immediately go through a pipe, he will stay on the top level there. So you can use that to your advantage, especially in something like 5-3. As soon as you go through the pipe, he's no longer a factor, and you can finish off the level quite nicely. Something to keep in mind, of course, for 7-5 as well, because if you do take him out on the top, he will stay on the top, so you can finish off the bomb section without any further issues. The World 6 airship does come out at the end of World 2, so we will get the Morton, the salty boy here, and a fight will go on with him for both of our runners here in just one moment.
And Morton, okay, stops at 4. I was starting to get worried he might take the maximum 5, but just 4 today. And we can already see that what I was saying in the previous seed, that like sometimes the first world can really slow you down. And this is one of those seeds where it 6.5 minutes just to get out of the first world, and the last seed it was what, 4 minutes to get out of the first world?
If that. It seemed like we were out of the first 2 worlds pretty soon after this, if not. So yeah, I mean, in TrueHyperMario, he's used to playing the long vanilla game. He knows what's coming up next. He knows it's going to take, X amount of time to get through these worlds and stuff. I have to wonder if that's going to help him. Is that going to be a huge factor here? Because if he can go the long distance, those mistakes tend to not make as big of a deal over the long game. Be interested to see if it helps or hurts him here. And 6F2 on side of both of these runners. MidiGuyDP now entering the last door to Boom Boom. TrueHyperMario wanting to do his best to do the same. Will take a tail here for a little bit of added damage boost protection. He will get it and should be able to finish it off with P-Speed here. And is doing his best to catch up to MidiGuy as quickly as possible.
And here we've got, what's this one, 5-4 or 5-5? I never remember.
This one's actually 5-8, one of the very fun levels that if you get P-Speed early, it's a lot easier to play because the enemies will all be behind you as they respawn, or as they spawn and actually start doing their actions. But a little bit complicated if you can't get that P-Speed strat early, which of course both these runners will get no problem at all. These guys are good.
Except that, as you say, that TrueHyperMario takes a little bit of a breather to pick up firepower, which is not a bad idea, as MidiGuy contends with tanks.
I actually really love that call on behalf of TrueHyperMario. He knew the enemies were going to be out of his way. He knew he was going to be able to use that Fire Flower for what happens next. And here, I mean, it's going to be a boom boom fight. if he's able to keep that fire flower, then it's going to go down real quick, and that could help as he tries to make a comeback here.
Yeah, he needs something to start going his way because unfortunately he's just a little bit behind now, and MidiGuy's been playing as well as he played in the last race.
Absolutely, and hopefully we do see something good come out on the side of TrueHyper. Obviously no hammer here, which would be a huge help. In the last one we had all 4 pipes on the left-hand side of the map. This time we don't have any of the pipes, but we do have a marathon on the side of TrueHyper. I probably should also clarify that. So when we talk about a marathon with the Hammer Brothers, when you have multiple Hammer Brothers that are trying to occupy the same square or same space that they'll come to, they will actually both continue to move on. It's kind of like a Midwest hello or goodbye. You know, everybody just keeps trying to get out of each other's way. And really all that means for him is that he has to wait while they make up their mind as to who goes first.
And TrueHyperMario uses a star for those Hammer Bros that were giving MidiGuy a problem. MidiGuy uses a frog suit for them in the end. Oh, and it turns out those were different Hammer Bros because MidiGuy collects a hammer while Hyper collected a cloud.
Both very good items. We'll see if the other one comes out to play here. Looks like TrueHyper not going for that second Hammer Brother.
And neither did MidiGuy.
Okay, that is very interesting. These guys both onto 3-4 now, and both playing in such a way where they feel like they're behind. You love to see it. You know, you love to see this high caliber of play, but I have to wonder if that's going to make any kind of a difference. And honestly, with neither of these runners going after the pipe on the left with the rock, obviously there's no reason to. The pipe it leads to is down under where I think 6'5" or 6'6" usually is. But I have to wonder if that's going to come back to haunt one of the runners.
I was just about to say we've got a nice, easy 1-2 here, and then the fire chomp started showing up.
And not only that, but that is actually an open world 6. I believe MidiGuyDP doesn't realize that there was another pipe there, as he is playing 1-2, but TrueHyperMario is now already on the World 4 airship. Yeah, MidiGuy playing just too many levels here, realizes his mistake, is going to go back now and play the pipe. He already knows the fortress is not required. We saw the lock on the left-hand side. A bit of a misplay there for MidiGuy, and that is going to be the difference in lead for TrueHyperMario now, as he will be a full level ahead at this point.
And he was able to use fireballs on Lemmy, though I think he did the stomp kill in the end. It was only one stomp. No, it was not only one stomp, so he did get the fire kill.
Still a pretty vanilla Lemmy for the most part, though. 3 hits, no big deal.
And we are in World 7. We do have a lock that needs to be broken.
And with that, we did see the World 6 come out as really just not being a huge difficult factor. Okay, looks like we're going to get a chance at a clip here for an early exit on the side of TrueHyperMario to keep that fire flower. Oh, beautiful.
Nice. I'm not sure I've seen this clip before.
Oh, you love to see that. TrueHyperMario has got to be feeling good now.
Yeah, that is a pretty nice clip.
An absolute beaut for first, and that will give us our first look at the fortresses in World 7. And wouldn't you know it, 7F2 has come out to play in World 7 again.
And now we'll see if they are, again, well, potentially see if this doesn't break the lock we need it to break. Is Fort Knox also going to be in World 7 again?
You have to love to see this. You really, truly do. TrueHyperMario using a P speed strat to get through 7F2. Didn't even attempt it last time, was able to get a star, was able to get through it very cleanly and quickly, and is just building onto his lead. I have to believe this is going to matter.
Yeah, he's just got to get through the... Oh, no, broke the wrong lock, unfortunately.
Okay, looks like we could have a bit of a leadership change here, as MidiGuyDP will find out that once again the World 7 fortresses are linked, but TrueHyperMario just right behind him and has Mushroom.
Ooh, and MidiGuy takes an unfortunate death there.
Actually, that was an intentional death. MidiGuyDP is going to come back in with a tail and be able to beat this even faster now. So he will be in the lead still after this early exit, whereas TrueHyperMario still has to catch up now. It's a bit of a strategy that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and if I haven't seen it on commentary a couple of other times, it never made sense to me for sure. But as you're watching this, so MidiGuyDP actually exited the level, went back to get his screen transition back in so he could skip the Piranha. He's going to put it to sleep now. Started with the P-Link, a very exceptional play on MidiGuy's part to keep the lead at this point. And with that, because he did pick the right fortress, he's done. Whereas TrueHyperMario now has to decide what to do. And unfortunately, that means play 2 Piranhas.
Yeah, he didn't get the music box.
Right, that music box came from World 2, which we were talking about, because TrueHyperMario only played one of the Boomerang Brothers, and I believe it was the one that gave the Starman, so the difference in items starting to play a factor here.
I mean, it is worth noting that they both did skip Hammer Brothers, so it's more a matter of who got lucky with which Hammer Brothers they skipped and which one they got items from.
Absolutely, and we do see TrueHyperMario take a entry into the pipe level. I think that's interesting. I don't know if that was intentional to get a save state or if he accidentally went into the level thinking there was one there. Either way, he will finish off the World 7, get the hammer, and will be moving into World 4 as well quickly. I have to say, though, so far, what a race. Both of these runners just doing an outstanding job. In World 7, we saw a leadership change from about a level ahead to really just a level ahead in the opposite regard. So now a fight with Ludwig as small Mario is never a good place to be, but hopefully that's not a problem here. Six F3 on the side of MidiGuyDP, but a beautiful P speed strat to get through that means that will be, of course, short work for him. 2 hot foots that play by the rules. You love to see it. Sometimes those will be rogue, and they will mess with you and give you a bad day, but no problem here for MidiGuyDP as the fight with Boom Boom does go down. And I believe this is a one fortress World 4, and just won't matter here in a moment.
Yeah, if this pipe just takes us to the end of the world, that's gonna be that. Yep.
A very friendly World 4 here. They came, they conquered, they're going to be gone. And World 3 airship coming up for MidiGuyDP. Not a terrible one. Iggy will really have no places to hide, as it will be an open arena for them to duke it out in. So very interesting, a very close match so far, and still a couple of fun worlds to play.
Ooh, and a very heavy Iggy today. Someone should tell him to lay off the burgers.
Not one of the fights, especially with that Koopaling that you want to see. Iggy has a propensity of putting really just others in danger, as he has Earthquake. The hitbox is very scary. It doesn't always play by the rules of what we expect, and fortunately MidiGuy able to use his expertise to take down Iggy without any further problems from him.
And now he's got a solid 2-level lead on TrueHyperMario, who still needs to beat this fort and then the airship.
Absolutely, and we do hope to see something that his cloud will come out to play on that he did pick up in World 6, whereas Mini Guy got the hammer. So hopefully that's enough for him to kind of propel himself into a better position. But if nothing comes up of that nature, such as Atlantis, 5-9, 7-5 even, 7-9, any of those really terrifying levels that take you a few tries to get through sometimes, if he is able to skip that, whereas Mini Guy gets caught up on that, that is a huge swing in his favor. So, a very interesting World 3 layout so far. We have three pipes on the left-hand side, only one immediately accessible, and that will require a bridge to be built. So, pipe not really going to be a factor here.
And that island was kind of weird. One of the locks is on that island, and we really don't care about it because I don't see either of the players using the raft today. But we haven't seen what'll get us through to the castle at the end.
Yeah, and that level cannot be it cannot actually be a level, so that toadstool house does have to stay there because if it was required, our runners could potentially soft walk by not having a hammer to break the rock in the bottom right corner to go get that raft. So a very fun thing to do in vanilla, but just not practical in randomizer, unfortunately.
So I was just thinking, we still haven't seen World 1, which could hopefully mean speeding things up a bit as MidiGuy goes through one of our lovely beta levels, which has quite a few blooper nannies introducing a lot of lag.
But a wonderful way for MidiGuyDP to keep his patience about him as he finally got the bloopers to kind of move in a direction that were more friendly and favorable to him as he's able to beat the 5-3 beta, which in all rights is super scary. So one more level on the side of MidiGuyDP. There are only so many levels you can beat in World 3 before everything virtually is open up. And especially depending on where the locks and such are. But we already saw where a bridge was necessary and a lock was necessary. And since World 6 did have 3 fortresses, really as soon as you see another pipe, you're going to want to take it.
Ah, but which of these two pipes? Not that one.
TrueHyperMario now going through one of our other lost levels, which was finished off by Fred, who was the creator of the randomizer. And this is basically an ode to 1-6, but is utterly terrifying. There's always going to be like flame chomps and fire tails on there, and they like to come after you. And it does make it just a little bit more scary, but also a lot of fun.
And MidiGuy did find that the second pipe in that pair was the one that goes straight to Wendy and Wendy down.
So very quick couple of worlds here. We had 4, we had 3. 4 was a single fortress world, and 3 is just a couple of levels to get to the right pipe, but neither of the fortresses are required. So now we could be going into either 1 or 5. 1 not really going to play a huge role as far as TrueHyperMario being able to catch up, but you have to hope that 5 does play to his advantage to give him a chance here.
Oof. Well, he just got a lovely 5-up cutscene, though. I guess he didn't quite time his jump right. So this is you were calling that water level a 5-3 lookalike. This beta that MidiGuy's now in, I think of as the 5-3 lookalike.
Okay. I usually call the other one the 5-3 because you start off going to the right and then you go down and you go to the left. So I guess kind of reverse from 5-3, but I could see it. The 2 levels. Interesting.
We need better names for some of the betas. I mean, like the 1-5 lookalike is obvious and like Atlantis and but some of them just don't have good names yet.
Chat, I think we're going to have to throw that to you. If you've got a couple of good names that you'd like to see on some of the beta levels, certainly throw those in the chat, especially when you see them, and we will see if we can get those caught on. True Hyper Mario now onto the World 5 airship does get that fire flower. You'll love to see it. He will be going after a fight with Wendy with the fireballs. Hopefully, it is enough for him to get through this time. Oh, unfortunately, it does take damage there. We'll have to go the old-fashioned route.
And MidiGuyDP discovers the World 8 fort, and this is a more conventional layout to World 5 than what we saw in the last race. Here, you beat this fort, you build the bridge to the other half of Ground World, and then you find your portal to Sky World.
Yeah, World 5 can get very linear because of that. There will always be, like we talked about in the last seed, a bridge building item, meaning that there could be a fortress or whatever, or has to be a fortress, I should say, a pipe or the tower, which of course will also take you to the top. So because of that, we actually don't have any of that except for the fortress and a one panel. So World 1-1 does come out to play with a couple of giant creatures, but that does mean that both the tower and the two pipes will be on the top. We'll see if those help our runners get anywhere closer to the castle.
Yeah, this pipe definitely takes us somewhere in Skyworld, and we're about to find out where.
And looking like MidiGuy, not a fan of the fights with the Boomerang Brothers. You really can't fault him for this. Unfortunately, TrueHyperMario having a bit of an issue with this enemy set on the other 5-3 beta that we've seen, and really lucky to get out of there without any further issues. The small Mario, a scary place to be with some of those enemies. Thankfully, just not a factor as he's able to move on and continue his journey with another beta. That's not a beta.
Okay, I just have to say I love MidiGuy's play, just bouncing off Cheap Sheep straight through the level there.
You love to see it, and that really shows the talent of some of these runners. Of not being able to quite get the P-Speed strat there, but still able to go fast enough that the Cheap Cheeps do help them along in the level. It's beautifully timed and a very nice job.
And now we take a leaf in 2-5, and that'll get us to Roy pretty quickly. And we know World 1 comes next, so hopefully that'll be a nice fast one.
Absolutely. For TrueHyperMario, I think the biggest thing to do is just keep it close. If there's a chance at getting a different outlook based on where the fortresses were and such, maybe go after it. But really just play a tight, succinct race here and hope World 8 goes in your favor this time.
Yeah, and we know what a difference World 8 can make depending on routing. The runners are still very much within a World 8 routing difference of each other.
I have to go with a hot take here. I think if TrueHyperMario still has the cloud, it is possible I missed it at some point. Use it here. Get yourself through. Go on to the next part of World 5. There's just not a lot of time left to use it, and you don't want to waste it.
Yeah, World 1, I mean, I've seen good cloud usage in World 1. You don't necessarily know that it's going to have a layout like that, though.
Absolutely, and a very unfortunate place for TrueHyperMario to be. I think it's kind of okay, looks like he is eyeing some items. Winds up with a Tanuki suit, though, so World 1 will still have a couple levels that need to be played. I'm curious if he does use the clouds in that scenario. MidiGuy about to give us our first look into World 1. And speaking of World 1, TrueHyperMario has just gone through 1-1. And we'll be going into the top here to see what happens next.
And hey, World 1 has its World 1 fortress. Let's see if MidiGuy grabs a leaf and decides to get the item here or just completes the level like normal. He's completing the level like normal.
Not a bad decision. Did go after the clip once, didn't get it. We'll go through the old-fashioned way. That will give TrueHyperMario just a moment to catch up. Decided to use 2 clouds there at the end of World 5. I personally like to see it. I like the aggressive strategy. Go ahead and get through it. could mean the difference of a lot for True Hyper Mario at this time, and you've got to leave it all on the field here. There's no more time for this.
But hey, as a nice bonus, we may get a Tanuki defeat of a Koopaling here. Oh, of course, Commentator's Curse. I guess our commands will have to wait for another day.
Or possibly another race. We still have True Hyper Mario possibly, making this a game. He's only a couple levels behind at this point, one of which was 1-3, the other was the World 1 Fortress. It's going to be 3 levels for both of them. Hopefully True Hyper Mario can be just a little bit faster, especially as 7-8 comes out to play.
7-8 with an angry sun does not look fun.
No, it definitely doesn't, but thankfully this angry sun will not start until you're like 3/4 of the way through the level. For these runners, though, it's not going to matter as they will go through the secret entrance most likely, and that, of course, will despawn it and will allow them to continue on without any further issues.
Oh, and MidiGuy didn't even want the fancy suit from that.
True Hyper Mario, with a change of heart, as he decided to not go for the World 1 Fortress a hidden item, thinks maybe the block could break if he does this. So a good call. It's a safe call, but a good call nonetheless.
So what do we have? About a 2 world difference here?
Yeah, just about a 2
level rather.
Okay, we're going to make that a 3 level difference as MidiGuyDP did just use his cloud. True Hyper does not have a cloud as far as I know, but just like that, there is another one come out to play as soon as the Boomerang Brother does go down. So it'd be interesting if True Hyper is able to get that early and if he decides to use it. Looks like True Hyper Mario will be going after a tail. Okay, looks like he is still going for the P-Speed strat. I thought he might try to fly over there. Turns out he knows better than I do. He's just going to go for the damage boost and should be good to get to the... Okay, there we go.
And we do get a Tanuki Koopaling kill, so get your commands in chat.
Looks like the hidden item on the side of True Hyper Mario and 7-8 was a mushroom. We don't know what the second power-up would have been, but that is quite all right. With that, True Hyper Mario able to go into the next level with a mushroom. It's a good place to be for him, I think. So while True Hyper Mario is working on 3-3 that we just saw MidiGuy do a moment ago, True Hyper will be using a P-Speed strat here, which I personally like. Hopefully he can get it here and get through the level quickly.
And MidiGuy found the World 2 fort already in World 8, so this will break a lock or build a bridge, and there are 3 more, and we'll see how much of the map he can uncover.
Looks like True Hyper Mario will not get the Boomerang Brother early. That level that we just saw MidiGuy skip was a 2-1 with giant creatures, which are currently being problematic for True Hyper Mario as they do take up a lot of memory. Thankfully, he's able to get through that, and we'll be catching up here quickly. Maybe on the side of MidiGuyDP will go down very quickly as well. So, sir, we've currently seen 2 of the fortresses so far. So definitely possible that we could have a lot of bridges. We've already got a couple of the guesses in chat. We'll see. It looks like MidiGuy not playing the Navy icon. I think that's interesting. We'll see if that comes back to hurt him.
Apparently it did, because the one pipe out of there is lock blocked, and so the Air Force residing in the Navy icon is the only way to break that lock and allow progression.
A very interesting start to World 8. We don't know if any of those three are required to get to Bowser. In some way, shape, or form, they are for the most part. The dead end one obviously didn't have to be played right now. Doesn't mean it's not required, though. So we'll see if that does come out to play.
I think there was only one pipe on that screen, so I think this one did have to be played right now so that we could get out the other end of the pipe.
I'll have to verify on True Hyper screen. I thought there was 3 fortresses on this first part.
There were, but that fortress that we just did was mandatory because there was only one pipe off that screen, and it was lock blocked.
Yeah, I totally agree. Oh!
Oh! I hear Tanuki tastes very good.
We will have to see if we can get Boss Pass in for an interview after that one, because what a diving catch that was made there. So I am curious if any, because 2 of those fortresses were absolutely required, like you said. So the Navy was required in terms of actually moving on, because the lock was blocking right after the pipe, which is kind of unusual, honestly. I'm not sure I've seen that before. But the one that's in the middle, where I believe one of the pipes usually is in the vanilla game, I'm curious if that one's required, because 2 fortress has to be played. The Navy obviously has to be played. I wonder if the third one is, and if True Hyper will play it.
Ooh, and this looks just plain unpleasant. MidiGuy walked right into a dead end where he was grabbed by a hand. If he had just been navigating the map a little bit slower, that wouldn't have happened, and now he's lost his firepower.
It looks like another hand grab on the side of MidiGuy, and hey, we got a hand level.
I'm surprised he didn't want to beat the hand level for the item.
Yeah, I'm very interested in the calls on both of these sides. So True Hyper, has actually played it exactly like I was just talking about. He skipped the tank icon in the middle there. But it doesn't matter. MidiGuy's already at Bowser's Castle.
In Tanuki form, unfortunately, you can't get statue kills on Bowser.
That would be very interesting. I know one of our runners, Macobra52, has actually put together a patch where you can inflict damage on Bowser by jumping on his head, which, if that doesn't make you happy, I'm sorry. I don't know how I could help you at this point, because just watching it is hilarious as Mario just bounces over and over again, but maybe one of these days we'll have to get jumps and statue kills in on Bowser as well. So unfortunately, MidiGuyDP will not be able to finish it off with the Fire Flower. It does take some damage and goes in with a tail, which will be merely used for a damage boost.
Yeah, as you said in the previous seed, those fireballs in that last screen are randomized, so having that tail was a nice way to be like, I don't care where these fireballs are, I'll just lose the tail.
Absolutely. If you do have the P-Wing, you actually can fly over them. If you duck and fly, none of the fireballs can be right next to the ceiling, so you actually do have a clear travel path there, but not something we see our runners take, obviously. Both because it's not very widely known, and the other because really you prefer to have like a Fire Flower or Hammer Brothers suit there. But if you do have to go through the Fire Brothers suit or through the Fireball suite right before Bowser, that's a good way to get through it.
Anyway, get your GGs in chat for MidiGuyDP finishes 37-31, almost exactly the same time as the previous race, and he takes the series 2-0 and advances and will face Human Mustard in the next round.
That is going to be an absolutely outstanding match to watch as well. Human Mustard is a very talented, very gifted runner. Just like we saw MidiGuyDP, both guys very familiar with the randomizer set. They've been playing the weeklies, they've been playing randomizer races for a very long time. I can't wait for that one. That's going to be a very good time.
And that is also a forfeit from TrueHyperMario. I don't blame him. He acknowledges in the race chat that, He's just been eliminated, doesn't feel the need to finish out the seed at this point. So let's see if we can get both of them in here for a chat.
And while we do see if we can get them in here, interestingly enough, we just got the information on the side of TrueHyperMario, where that third fortress in the very beginning was actually required. The first one was required, obviously, to move on in the world. The second one, the Navy, was required to get past the lock. And the third one was required to build a bridge to Bowser. So everything you needed right there at the beginning. A very interesting World 8 for sure.
And we are joined by MidiGuyDP. GG, and congrats at being the winner of the first bracket series here.
GG, many thanks on that. That was a long-ish, well, the first one was a pretty long seed overall, I'd have to say. Second one, I stumbled a little more at the beginning, had a few issues, and I think I played an extra stage in World 6, which I think was the second world on the second seed, though I can't remember anymore. But no, that was pretty good overall on my end. I wonder how close TrueHyperMario was on the second match, though. I know it wasn't far.
I mean, it was about the same. He was in World 8, still had a couple levels to go. Probably would have been a similar time difference. You got almost identical times between the two seeds in the end.
Oh, dang. Talk about consistency. Oh, I'm always okay with that. Makes for good planning, I guess. But no, there's in the first seed there, I was actually when there's fort I wanted to do like on the first screen of World 8, and I accidentally used my fire flower. I meant to just use the mushroom, and then I thought, well, I guess I'm gonna have to keep this towards all the way towards the end if I want to fire kill Bowser, and lo and behold, I actually managed to do that. I was pretty happy with myself there when that happened, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, overall, really solid play.
Yeah, and then there was that rude World 7 on the first seed. Dang, it just made us really go out of our way there. It was like once I saw that lot blocking the other fort, I knew right away that, okay, we have ourselves both forts required right here. No doubt about it. And of course, the other fort was 7F2, so by like almost always logic of the randos, the two forts, the two World 7 forts are together in the same world, so I made sure to have a Tanuki ready, and yep, that worked out there. So I can't remember which world, but there was one where I was expecting 4F1 because I saw 4F2, and it was actually 5F2. I was like, huh, well, not this time, I guess.
Okay, I don't remember which one that was, but I also haven't learned all the logic about when forts are paired with each other.
Mm-hmm. In the first seed, I clouded 2 levels, 7, 9, and I had no idea what the other one was. I didn't want to take a chance of if it was Atlantis, so I clouded that one as well. Did TrueHyperMario play that one? I'm curious to know what level that was.
In the first one?
Yeah, the first seed, yeah.
Where you did the double clouding? I can't remember what those 2 levels were.
Okay.
Do you remember, Growlwolf?
Yeah, so the first one, like MidiGuy said, was 7-9, which I think was a great skip. The second one was actually 5-6.
5-6, oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, still worth it in the end. Of course, I saw 5-9 a little later, so I'm like, welp. But it could have been worse. Could have been Atlantis later. I didn't see Atlantis at all. I didn't see 7-5 at all. 6-6. Didn't see any of that. Not much nightmare level fuel in these 2 seeds. So it was pretty tame when it comes to the levels. I saw 7-6 I was quite happy with the mac and cheese there. Though I didn't see 7-1. But no, overall, quite happy with the run that it is so far on that. I'm looking forward to seeing the restream to just see how close it was.
Yeah, definitely a great one to go back and watch. A lot of, especially early, there was a lot of leadership changes going back and forth and back and forth. And I think there was a couple times we just left the sound alone because it was that close. So, and I know at one point you had actually also, I believe it was the second seed, you played 7F1, took an early exit, and then you came back with just a beautiful play, honestly. You went, because you took an early exit out of the level, you actually went back to the pipe. You went into the pipe, came back out, did a screen transition skip again, brought in a P-Wing, and then were able to finish off 7F1. Meanwhile, even though TrueHyperMario, he actually had a mushroom there. He went through, he went ahead and got the Tanuki suit and everything, and you were still able to get out of the level before he did.
Yeah, my thought process through that part is that I wanted to use the screen transition to skip the piranha like before going into the fort. That way I could use the music box afterwards, and if luck was on my side, I'd be able to go past both piranha plants with a single music box there, and that worked out very, very well. So, and it paid off there, that's for sure. I was quite happy with that play overall.
And rightfully so. I mean, I was watching, and it was kind of one of those things like, oh, this should work. This should work. It totally worked. Wow.
Yeah, that was nice. I think it's the first time I think I pull off a play like that, too, so that was a fun times, that's for sure. Overall, went pretty good. My only stumbling was at the beginning of the second seed, and I played an extra stage, and it turns out I could have just went into the pipe and just went to the end on the world map of that World 6. But still, overall, both of them went pretty good on my end. It was nice to have some consistency. I'm okay with that.
Definitely. Actually, I had a question for Growlwolf. You mentioned MidiGuy's average time. Do you remember exactly what it was? 37 what? Because he's so close to his average in both of these races. If you still have that number available.
I do. It is a 37.46.
Wow.
and we saw 37.31 and 37.36 today. Wow. So you're very consistent.
I guess I'm 37 guy, and it's not actually far from my age on top of that. I'm actually 36, so yeah, this is just consistency all around. I'm Mr. 37 today. All right, cool. I'm okay with this.
So the next race will be coming up for you, I believe, next week, as we are trying to get through each of these rounds pretty much every week. And you are going to be taking on Human Mustard. Any thoughts on that one?
Well, this is going to be, in my case, it's going to be a bit of a try at redemption since the SG Live tourney last year, where Human Mustard beat me 2-0, and I believe on the second race I would have had a chance to win on that too, though I routed poorly and wound up playing the Spiral Fort twice in World 5 on that particular race. So this should be a cool rematch there. I'm really looking forward to that too. It should be something for my calendars, that's for sure.
Well, we are certainly looking forward to seeing that. You guys both very experienced veterans of the SMB3 Randomizer world. And I love seeing all the different shots at redemption from different people. You know, we put on potentially several tournaments throughout the year, and you kind of see the same faces, the same names come through. And I love how everybody has those different redemption stories of, oh, they beat me last time, it's my turn, I got to beat them this time.
Yeah, it's like that rivalry factor. It's always fun to do that. It always gets you pumping and just pushes you to do the best that you can. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how that's going to play out. It'll be a great time.
Definitely. And in the meantime, we have a couple more matches so far scheduled this week. Of course, there'll be 8 sets of matches in total by the time the week's out. But as of right now, the next scheduled match is 6:30 Eastern tomorrow between Animus United and Paratroopa. And MidiGuy, I believe you were in the same group as Paratroop in groups play, right?
I was in the group with it was Paradox that was
Oh, shoot.
that was with me.
Paradox Paratrooper. My bad.
Yeah, you were half right in terms of
Para
names.
something.
Yeah. I think that was another para player too, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. Oh no, it wasn't para. It was another duck player, I believe. There was another player that goes by the name of Duck Fist, I think that took part at one point. Last year, the year before that, and can't remember exactly, but I think it was something like that. Could be wrong though, but I do know that's another name.
Anyway, if neither of you have anything else, I think we should probably wrap for right now.
Sounds like a plan. This was a lot of fun though, and I'm looking forward to the next one. Always have a blast with it, as always.
And we didn't say this before, but please do follow the runners. They put on a great show for us today. MidiGuy, you'll be seeing more of him in this tournament. TrueHyperMario, I fully expect to see him in other tournaments. And in any case, as we discussed, he is a really good vanilla player. So definitely give them both a follow.
For sure. Many thanks.
And also, Growlwolf, it was a lot of fun working with you today.
The pleasure was certainly mine. A great time, a great race. I really appreciated working with you as well. It's always nice to see everything that kind of goes on behind the scenes, and just really want to extend a special thank you to SpeedGaming and all of its wonderful volunteers. They do so much behind the scenes to make things happen online. And if you enjoy the content, if you enjoy the things that we do here, definitely reach out, get people to follow, get involved. We'd love to see you guys added even into the Discord if you don't want to race or you just want to try it out. I think we've got links there as well that we can get in the chat. So once again, just thank you to SpeedGaming for all that you guys do.
Yeah, the link to the Discord is about half a dozen messages above, and we also, Growlwolf just posted links specifically to the Discord for this tournament, as well as where you can see the tournament bracket and the schedule. And as for SpeedGaming, we're going to take a little bit of a break here. More programming coming to you starting at 8 p.m. You can check out Super Metroid multi-category on SpeedGaming 2, Star Wars Episode 1, racing on SpeedGaming 3, or Chrono Trigger Jets of Time Randomizer on this channel. So be sure to tune back this evening and check out one or more of those.
Cool.
Absolutely. And those races are things you don't want to miss. There's so many races I've watched. We were talking before the stream went live about the other SpeedGaming channels as well, such as the Portuguese and the Espanol and Francais and Deutsch. And there's so many of the super SpeedGaming channels out there. They do such a wonderful job. I was watching a Cuphead tournament not long ago. It was just a riot. I had no idea what anybody was saying, but it was a great time, a great feature. And, kudos to SpeedGaming for all that they put on for that. And if you, like I said, if you're not already following them, why not? Like, they put on so much great stuff, and you never know which game you'll fall in love with next.
Indeedo.
And with that, I think that'll do it for us now. Thank you all for watching, and be sure to check out the schedule and tune into the other matches of our brackets here.
Absolutely. And on behalf of Super Mario Bros. 3 Randomizer Tournament, MidiGuyDP, TrueHyperMario, and Drosy, this is Growlwolf signing off saying thank you for being here. There's a lot of places you could be, but you were here with us today, and we certainly appreciate that. And until next time, keep randomizing, keep racing. Take care.
Take care, everybody.